Massive Tensions. We're here with Matt and Emily Sterling, professional fitness models and bodybuilder. Matt's a bodybuilder. Matt's going to be doing the WDBFF championships in 10 weeks, world championships, as is Emily. Both amazing professional personal trainers, great at what they do. Contact Matt and Emily Sterling. Website, guys, Emily?
www.teamsterling.ca.
Great. This leg portion is going to be your ticket to building pro caliber legs. We're going to take Matt and Emily through a workout today. Emily's going to be doing some hamstrings. We're going to take Matt through a killer quad workout. Your key to building Pac-Man style quads. So we're actually going to take Emily through a hardcore hamstring workout. Make sure she learns how to contract muscles from all the way to the top, from the top all the way to the bottom. So here we go. Let's get at it. All right, so we're ready for the quad portion of Mass Intentions, the part you guys are all here for. Who's ready for the Pac-Man's quad workout? We're here with Matt Sterling, WBFF pro bodybuilder. We're going to put Matt through the ringer today, give him what he really wants, teach him how to build his quads, Pac-Man way, Mass Intention style. We're ready to light it up. We're going to warm up with some squats. May or may not be my exercise of choice, depending on the day. For the first exercise with Matt, we're going to choose to use it as a warm-up because it tends to bug one of his lower back muscles. So we're going to see if we can manipulate it to actually make sure it's working for him optimally. Let's get to it. All right, so we're just going to watch Matt squat. Let's see what he does and see if we can pick up on something that... Good. One thing you're going to notice about Matt's weight distribution is very even in his feet, which I love. There's not a lot of rocking back and forth. You see a lot of guys who have a tendency to rock on their feet back and forth. He looks like he's stable. Looks like he's standing in concrete. That's perfect. Good. Everything's moving in unison. His glutes come back at the same time, his knees go forward, everything's okay. A lot of people ask, is it okay to let your knees come over your ankles, come over your toes? As long as it's in control, absolutely. So we're letting Matt do this his way, and then we're going to manipulate some of the variables my way. Okay, so what I believe, that's good, Matt, the form looks excellent. Now we're just going to change the execution a little bit. So one of the things I believe that is absolutely necessary to build proper quads is tension, as with everything. Okay, so the form looks great, and that's a great starting point. His weight isn't rocking back and forth. It doesn't look like there's an excessive amount of tension in his knees, and that's just by my physical observation. So now what I want to do is get into the little intricacies of the workout, or of the exercise. So what Matt's going to do is at the top of the rep, right when he gets to about here, he's going to have a slight bend in his knees, and he's going to try to contract his quads. And for those of you who can't actually physically contract your quads, all I want you to do is just think about driving your feet out. So instead of the natural tendency may be to drive my knees out, I'm actually going to shove my feet into the floor and push out. And you'll feel automatically that contracts really everything out the outside of your quads. Yep. Okay, so I want you to do that at the top of the rep and keep that tension on the way down. And try to keep it through the entire rep. So what I'm thinking about doing when I'm doing my leg extent or my squats is I'm shoving out, but I'm also allowing my quads to stay contracted and almost have my hamstrings pull me down into the rep. So the quads stay contracted, and I'm actually trying to pull with my hamstrings to kind of come down. I got you. So, and there's never a point in that rep where my quads relax. And the time I know that I'm ready to come back up is when my glutes contract at the bottom. So I'm coming to the bottom, I'm shoving out, I'm shoving out, I'm shoving out. Right about here, I feel my glutes start to contract. And when I get a good contraction of my glutes, boom, we're coming back up. Okay, so I'm trying to contract my glutes and my quads at the exact same time at the bottom of the rep. We're going to keep the weight light, and we're going to try to do 8 reps. Good, so just beyond shoulder width, whatever's comfortable for you. I like to keep my feet straight ahead. Some people may turn them out, and I'll explain the difference between those two when Matt's done his set. So nice and controlled, he's shoving out, contract the glutes, boom, up. Good, don't let those quads relax. I don't want you to pause at the top, I want you to extend and go right back down. Control it, extend and right back down. Slower negative, 2, 3, 4, up. Control, 2, 3, 4, up. Remember to squeeze the quads hard and pull the hamstrings. Pull the hamstrings, good. 2, 3, you got to pull it from the top. Don't just let it drop. Pull with the hamstrings, contract that's the one right there. You know it's right when the tempo isn't going to be accelerating on the way down. I want you to be a constant tempo on the way down. You got 3 reps to go. Pull with the hamstrings. Give me 4 more reps, man. I want you to feel these. stop there for a sec, drive the heels out, or drive the feet out, control, pull down with the hamstrings. Right there, the glutes fire, and we're coming back up. Good. So I'm going to give you a bit of an inside look into what's going on in my head when I'm doing my squats. These are the little intricacies that I'm thinking about. I mean, that's what a lot of people ask for, is what's your mindset when you're really getting into these leg workouts that are blowing people's minds and building the best legs in the world, is I'm really trying to think about never letting those muscles relax. As when we train everything, I'm really driving out as hard as I can, and don't let that relax. So right there, I'm in a fully contracted position, and I try to keep that through the entire rep until I get to the bottom. And so you'll actually watch me, whether it's training with 1 plate or 6 plates, and actually will be exactly the same tempo on the negative and even on the positive. It'll literally look at this like this pace. Whether it's 100 pounds or 700 pounds, it's always going to look exactly the same. Okay, so that's what we're striving for, is to keep that tension constant and really squeeze as hard as you can. You can change how the muscles respond by how much you squeeze. Bottom line. Okay, good. You felt on the outside of your legs?
Yeah,
awesome.
Totally.
So you got a lot of people go, oh, how do I build my, my outer thighs? How do I build my outer quads? That's how you do it. And you can actually do this in the opposite direction. I just don't recommend it right now. So Matt just actually brought up a great point. Matt, what did you say to me?
Like for me, basically, like it's always been a little bit easier to build the outside of my quad, right? It's the vastus lateralis, and it's always been the inside for me, the medialis, which has been a little tougher.
Great. I'm sure a lot of you have that same problem. And so basically what Matt's saying is, well, how do I build my vastus medialis, which is our teardrop muscle? Essentially, that's going to be the amount of control you can put it forth at the bottom of the rep. So when I'm in a fully stretched position, when I'm in a fully flexed position, so whether it be on a leg press or a leg extension or even a squat, how much tension can I put into that muscle at the bottom of the rep? So when I'm here, it's not necessarily where my legs are. I can be here and still be exerting as much force in my vastus medialis. It's about how much I can contract with this muscle off the bottom, as opposed to, you see a lot of people that will come and do their squats, and on the negative they'll be nice and controlled, and they'll get to the bottom, they'll go like this. So the bottom 3 reps will be a little less control, or you get those people who won't go quite as deep. And that, in my opinion, is what's going to slow you down from building those medialis. So it's really important that bottom 3 inches of the rep, that we really keep control, and we actually go there. And now, if you can't go as heavy, that's okay. Let's go a little bit lighter. Sure. But let's stay there. So one of the things that I've done to actually bring up my medialis is I'll actually do 1.5 reps. So a lot of you have heard of that intensifier, where you may use a hack squat or something like that. So I'll go all the way down, come all the way up, go all the way down again, and come halfway up. So that means I'm spending more time in that set at the bottom of the rep, which is actually going to put more emphasis on the vastus medialis.
Awesome.
Yep. And awesome. And glutes, wicked. Pull down with the hamstrings, glutes, go. Awesome, that's 2. Go, control at top. I don't want you to pop it too much, I want you to contract the quads. Good. Pause, contract. Good. Don't just try to move the weight. Try to contract the quads through the movement. Awesome, man, love that one. Best tempo. 2 more. Good. Really good. Good. So as I mentioned in the beginning, Matt's feet look like they're literally sitting in concrete. There's no movement going there. So I can tell naturally his movement's going to be optimal. For some of you who may find that you're kind of shifting around and moving around, and maybe you're kind of doing one of these when you're coming up, one of the things that I think about, or that I teach my clients to think, is actually instead of trying to stand up, I actually want you to try to push the ground away from you. So if you think about it like that, that's really going to force you just to keep grounded, to keep stable, as opposed to just worrying about standing up. A lot of times you worry about standing up, it ends up looking a little funky. So if you think about pushing the ground away from you, your whole body just tends to stay stable, and you drive straight up. So that's one tip for you. Okay, that's great form though, man. You go put another quarter on there?
Yep.
So the one thing I'm thinking about when I'm training quads is trying to exhaust and squeeze my quads. It doesn't matter, I'm not thinking about getting 15 repetitions, I'm not thinking about getting 20 repetitions, I'm thinking about squeezing and beating the hell out of my quads. Your training partner should be the one who dictates how many reps you're doing, or that's the way I do it. It's like if I get to 8 and he feels like, I could do another 3 more and safely, and I'm not thinking about how many reps I can get at that point. Like you're so far into the set into squeezing your legs. The only thing I'm thinking about is keeping each rep perfect, keeping each rep safe, keeping the tension on those muscles as much as possible. Let's do it again, a little bit heavier. So even if you get 6 perfect reps, Matt, that's all I need to see. If we happen to get 8, that's even better. 4-second negative, and a squeeze for contraction. I don't want you to stand up. I want you to push the ground away. Hamstrings and glute, go. Awesome. That's the one, man. That was a great squeeze. Good. 3. Awesome. Squeeze that medialis for me at the bottom, right there. Good. Tension on that medialis all the way down. Good. Love that tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up. Awesome. Love it, man. 2 more. Awesome. Love it. Perfect. That's it. There you have it. That's how you execute the squat, Pac-Man style. Well done, man. Perfect form. One of the most importance of the whole mass and tension program is I try to preach to be a thinking man's athlete, that can be a thinking man's bodybuilder. Every time you go in the gym, I want you to be cognizant of what you're doing, and there's a reason for everything. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a hack squat. And the reason I chose to do a hack squat with Matt, 2 reasons. 1, he said, well, my vastus medialis needs to be more developed. And 2, as I mentioned and I preach in every single part of this DVD, is that a muscle is weakest at its extremes of the range. So when a muscle is fully lengthened, it's weak. When a muscle is fully shortened, it's weak. So why do I want to do a hack squat before I do a leg press? Well, hack squat tends to be at more of the extreme of the range. You tend to get more terminal knee flexion. You tend to get right to the bottom of the rep. Whereas a leg press, you're not going to get quite as deep, not quite as close to getting full knee flexion. So the knee's going to tend to be a little bit weaker there. So when I have more strength earlier in the workout is when I want to go there. I'll be a little bit more able to consciously control that part of the range of motion. So I'll be able to get a better squeeze and stay safe, as opposed to doing something that's at the extreme of the range when you're weak, which is probably not the smartest thing to do. Be a thinking man's bodybuilder. Let's go. Okay, so exact same execution as we had on the squat here. I want Matt to put his head back and relax. There's not a lot of strain on the spine. We're going to have him contract his quads, and we're going to come down. And again, for those people at home who don't know how to contract your quads, simply shove out. It'll teach you how to contract your quads. Okay, you're going to get all the way to the bottom, try to contract your medialis, and it's always under control. If you don't feel as though you can get quite as deep because you have knee problems, decrease the weight, try to get there anyways. I want you to always be safe. As long as something is under control, there's very little chance of injury. So when you start doing things with lack of control, that's you're going to injure yourself. Good, so same execution here, Matt. I want you to contract your glutes at the bottom, squeeze, and come up. Right there, the quads are contracted. You're going to keep them contracted and use your hamstrings to pull you down. Awesome. Good, keep that constant tempo. I don't want you to rest at the top. That head back. Good. Awesome, squeeze the quad and go. Squeeze through the full rep. And squeeze and down. Good, nice and controlled. Pull down with the hamstrings. I can tell when you're pulling because the tempo is going to be the same. Contract, pull. That's the one. Good, so whether you're using 1 plate or 6, it's always going to be the same. Good, 3 more. Good. Contract those quads, pull down, contract the glutes, go. That's it, and you're done. We rack it. Go up or down. Yeah. Great work. Weight's okay?
Yeah.
Knees feel okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So as long as we're keeping control. Matt said he doesn't really have a knee problem, but we just want to make sure we keep it that way. He's got a little bit of a back thing, so we're just trying to make sure everything is slow, controlled. 4-second negative, 1 second positive, 40-second sets. We're going to give Matt about 40 seconds to recover, then we're going to try a little bit heavier.
It's always been a little bit of an issue since I had my injury, to be coming down and utilizing the right muscle groups and getting my glutes and hams to fire off properly. Mm-hmm. And so basically when you said that, it just, by me slowing down the movement as opposed to dropping into it, it's activating those muscle groups.
Right.
And by slowing it down, I'm able to consciously think of it too. So, and for me, that makes a big difference, especially with a little bit of a back injury. If I'm coming to the bottom of the movement and I have any pelvics tilting happening at all, then I'm going to be using my back and I'm not going to be feeling my legs at all.
Yeah, exactly.
So even with this light weight that you're having me do and changing the focus, I'm totally feeling like my quads they're so pumped right
And
now.
the harder you-
and we're lifting like a plate.
Yeah,
and
the
then there's
lighter,
another quarter.
lighter weights allow you to squeeze harder. Doesn't necessarily mean you're not working as hard. Somebody that's stronger than you. Those muscles don't know. You're just squeezing as hard as you can.
Well, like you said,
Right.
we're trying to activate the muscle groups, right? So
Yeah.
thinking into the muscle. Put my
And
mind
as
in the
with
muscle.
anything, it's progressive overload, right? If you can do this right now for 12 reps
Yeah.
with a perfect squeeze,
Yeah.
in a month you'll be doing more than this, and you'll be stronger and thereby bigger. So
Yeah.
you're doing perfect reps with a little bit more weight, and it's just progressive, right?
Oh, absolutely.
At the end of the day, when I started doing stuff like this, I had to back up, man. I had to really go from doing 6-plate squats with lack of control, back down to 3 plates, and then I worked my way back up to 7 or 8, and now my legs are 4 inches bigger
That's right.
in a small amount of time.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. Like last
Yeah.
week, I was leg pressing 1,000 for 20 plus reps, and it was like
Right. It
weight
didn't
is
feel like
weight.
this.
But now this is exactly.
Right.
I'm feeling this right to my
The
femur.
one thing that we need to actually, the point we need to get across is muscles don't know weight, muscles know tension.
That's right.
That's the language of communication of muscles. Muscles only know how to pull, and they only know tension. So if I'm pulling, I'm probably getting just as much work as long as I'm moving through a range of motion. If I'm pulling on an elastic, as if I'm doing a rear delt exercise or whatever it may be, right? But muscles only know how much tension I'm putting through them. They can't see a weight.
Yeah.
So the more you can squeeze that muscle and you're punishing the muscle, driving more blood in there, breaking those muscle tissues.
That's right.
Weight is important, but at the same time, it needs to be weight under control.
Yeah, and I've stuck to more isolated movements just so that I could activate the muscle group more. But it's good. I mean, I'm doing squats again. I haven't done them in a year, and I'm feeling good with it.
The wonderful thing is you can make every exercise an isolated movement. You say, oh, these are compound movements or these are mass construction movements. Well, at the end of the day, you can make them all isolated movements if you learn how to do it right.
Sure.
You should be able to do it that way.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Good, awesome, man. Let's go. Yep. I just want you to give me 8 reps, even if you feel like you could do more, but do them perfectly, and we'll go heavier if you can get it. So right there, your hamstrings are pulling you down. The wonderful thing about doing it like that is you're going to fatigue your hamstrings too. Squeeze. Squeeze. That's it, man. Awesome. Squeeze those quads right there. Good, man. I love that contraction. Awesome. Good. 2 more. Contract those hams less time at the top. I want you to get a full extension at the same tempo and come right back down. Love it, man. You got it. Awesome. Rest. One thing I highly recommend doing between sets, moving around. You get a lot of people who, it's leg day, I'm tired, I'm going to lay in the leg press and not move. You want to get around, you got to get those muscles moving. You actually want to load your body. So you walk around and actually change the way your body moves. If you were to sit and not move, your firing pattern can actually change. You don't promote circulation. You want to try to get you get tons of blood in your legs. By walking around, you're actually going to circulate more blood, get it out of there, get the nutrients flowing, get the toxins that have just built up from that set. So believe it or not, out of the muscle. So believe it or not, when you're training your legs, or you're training any body part, your body's breaking down. It's releasing what's essentially toxins, lactic acid. You got to get that out. Otherwise, those muscles, that's actually what tells the muscle to stop contracting. If you're not pulling that out by moving around, something simple between sets, your muscles aren't going to be able to fire as efficiently. So something to think about. One thing Matt just said to me between sets is that he uses some of the principles some of the time to apply to his workouts. And one thing I want to preach to everybody is these principles are consistent across the board. If I say something for one exercise, it's applicable to probably 99.9% of the exercises, maybe likely 100% of the exercises. So if you're saying to me you're doing some of these exercises or some of these principles sometime, you're missing out on you're missing out on capitalizing a lot of these great benefits on certain exercises. It should be applying all these principles across the board. Just 8 reps. Put your feet down a tiny bit. Down, good, yeah.
I have a tendency to do that to activate more glutes.
Yep.
Okay.
Squeeze the quad right there, and don't you let it relax. Let's go, even if it's just 6. Good. 2. Good squeeze, man, I love it. Right to the top. 3. Looking straight ahead in the mirror. I don't want you looking down. 4. Squeeze and go. 5. Use that glute and hamstring at the bottom. Come on. Quad, 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 glute, hamstring, go. 2. Quad, 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 bottom. Good. Get to the bottom for me on this one. Let's go. Everything stays tight. Nice. Love it, love it, love it. That's it. Good. So we went a little bit heavier. Matt showed that he had great control. Did 8 reps relatively easily. I think he probably could have went, if we really pushed him toward 12 and 15 reps, we're going to up the weight.